Hey everybody, this is Anthony Greninger. I'm going to be doing this About Me video, and hopefully by the end of it you guys will know more about me and maybe find something fascinating. I don't know. So, I was born in Oregon in the United States of America. I didn't get to really experience it because I moved when I was a baby, and we went to Mexico and I went to kindergarten there, and then we moved back into the United States in Missouri, where my dad's family lives. And so I went to first grade not knowing a single word of English. I just knew Spanish, and I was just terrified. So right off the bat, I had anxiety. I had terrible anxiety. Another cool fact is I died when I was a baby. Whenever we were in Oregon, my dad had a truck that had a camper in the back, and my dad was driving, my uncle was in the passenger seat, and then my mom was in the camper in the back of the bed with me, my brother, and her. That was it. And she had the windows closed because it was like cold outside. They told me that my mom woke up and I was basically lifeless in her arms, and she started pounding on the window to get my dad to stop the truck. So he pulled over, immediately went around, and my mom handed me to my dad, and my dad said I was like a rag doll. I was like lifeless. My mom passed out, and my dad took me to the side of the road, and my uncle started doing CPR, and my dad just began praying, and my mom said she woke up and saw that I was still unconscious and still getting worked on. She passed out again. So I don't know how long I went without air, but yeah, my dad went to the truck and started praying, and he just kept saying like, please don't take my son away from me. And at some point he heard me start crying. Like I just started crying and woke back up. And so ever since that story was told to me, I always felt like I had a purpose in life. Like I had some kind of positive goal set for me to do something big. And it didn't come without problems. So I grew up like picked on. Um, I was really picked on because in school I was the shortest kid. I was super small. So think of a high schooler and think of a middle school kid, like little. The little kid was going to high school. That's what I was. I was that little kid, and I had a booster seat when I drove. I had like this stack of pillows that I sat on when I got in my car to drive, and that was embarrassing, and I was made fun of. I was also super skinny, so I was called anorexic, paper, like just anything that you can think of that was little, like a stick. So that was me. I was also picked on like by getting tossed around. Like in gym class, they would like pick me up and throw me and stuff. They'd be catching me. I mean, I never got hurt, but still, like, it hurt my feelings. There was one time where I almost got a swirly. Like, these guys picked me up and took me to the bathroom. I thought this only happened in movies, but apparently not. But they were trying to force my head down into the toilet, and like I was just like holding on for dear life to not give in, and they couldn't get my head in there, so they ended up giving up, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then I have this bone that sticks out on my chest. Like my ribs are kind of not shaped correctly, so I'm really paranoid when somebody feels me here because like, man, you're a skeleton, like, because it's just really bony right here. Also, I had spots growing all over my body. I had the skin discolorization, so I had dark spots, and then I had white spots like all over me, and that was something I was paranoid about, like going swimming and whatnot. And I was just like, this is just who I am. Like I can't be cool. I can't. It just took an effect on me. Like I wish I could be somebody different. Like I was wishing that I could be somebody else. I mean, now when I look back at it, I love who I am. But I learned from all of what happened, and it created who I am today. So like, yeah, when I was picked on and stuff, I basically played along with them. So I was making fun of myself because I don't know why. Like I didn't let them see that it affected me. So at some point, like everyone started liking me. Like everybody knew me and loved me because it was like they could pick on me and it didn't seem like it bothered me, and it was just fun to do that to me. And I learned to just like laugh with them, even though it was being made fun of towards me. Like I would be sad when I got home by myself, but when I was in front of them and stuff, like I made friends. Like everyone actually started treating me with respect, and even though they still joked around, I could see that friendship between everybody in my school. And so that was kind of cool, like how it changed from being picked on, but in a sense it was like they were picking on me because they cared about me, in a sense. I don't know, it was weird. Another fact about me is when I was younger, I owned this old keyboard, and that's when I started loving the piano. Like, I used to listen to Eiffel 65, which was this Euro pop group. They did the I'm Blue song, like I'm Blue Davidi Davidi. Now, and that was like my favorite song when I was little, and I would always like be carrying this little stereo with me until that radio, or the song came on the radio. I just blast it and walk around with it. And that, like, it always gave me a vision to play in front of crowds with music. And I wasn't sure what kind of music it was, but yeah, I had a keyboard and I would just like pick around at it. I never was taught, so I just liked messing with it and hearing notes. And I never did anything with it because I didn't know you could, you know, we didn't have computers back then. Well, we did, but we didn't own one. We grew up not having too many things. I mean, so yeah, like me being short and everything and having those spots and all that stuff, like I prayed constantly about it, and my mom prayed for me as well. Like my family was always hoping to be healed, for me to be healed and stuff. And my height started coming in whenever I was a senior in high school. So I was 18 and I was really short, but then I started growing. So people that I see now, graduated with in high school, they're just like, oh my gosh, Anthony, like you've gotten so much taller and stuff. And I'm like, I know, it's crazy. Like nobody could believe it, and I couldn't believe it. And that's why I'm still skinny. But this goes with stuff I had with anxiety. So, but yeah, I got taller, and then the skin started clearing up. Like it all became one color, and now I don't have any more spots. And my mom saw it when she was like fixing my neck and my back, and she was like, hey, all your spots are gone. And I was like, it's like God is real. And it wasn't until after this I was really tested to believe if God was real or not. So God has been a part of my life, and actually my entire life. And so I had no doubt that he wasn't real. So it wasn't until I started experiencing really terrible anxiety when I started questioning things. So I was dating this girl for 4 years. We were together for 4 years. It was getting rocky towards the last fourth year, and we ended up splitting. And I used to be in a band. We were doing really well, and that's what I envisioned my life being, you know, a musician. And so when we were doing awesome things in the band, I was like, this is it. Like, this is going to be my career. And during the time that, you know, my relationship was breaking up, so was the band. The bassist, he got married, and it's harder for him to get to practice and stuff. And so we didn't really end up having the bassist anymore. And then the lead singer, who basically wrote the songs and booked all the stuff, he felt God telling him that he needed to go to Iowa. And so he moved there. And I was like the drummer, and I didn't know like what to do because I never knew how to write a song. And so that dream was just, it was disappearing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like now what? Then on top of the band breaking up and my relationship ending, my cousin that I grew up with, that I was really close to, died in an accident. He passed away, and that hit me really hard. And I was just experiencing a lot of sickness, like anxiety. And the anxiety, like, it was terrible. Like, I felt like I was dying. Like, I always had stomach aches and stomach problems, and I was like shaking, and I just couldn't experience life for the longest time. Like, I don't know how long it went on for. I think I was really young, but the anxiety was hitting really hard during that time, and I didn't know how to control it. And I thought like I was dying. Like, I couldn't breathe. My heartbeat would race really fast, and I'd tell my parents about it, and they're just like, they didn't know what to do. And I went to the hospital, and they're just like, there's nothing wrong with you. You just had a panic attack and stuff. I'm like, well, that seems too real. Like, I felt like I was having a heart attack, and it just played in my mind that I was sick still, even though they were telling me I was okay, that I was sick. And so I started writing music because it calmed me down a little bit. And I never written a complete song, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try. So I did, and I completed one song, posted it, and I felt awesome. I felt some release out of me. So I kind of got addicted to it and continued it. And then I noticed people started leaving comments and saying like, wow, this is good, like keep it up. And ever since then I just kept progressing, and it was just me playing by ear, everything, just picking out the keyboard until I heard something that I loved, and then I just recorded it and overlapped it with other sounds, and it just progressed into these amazing pieces that I am even blown away by. And I believe that was God being with me, and I was just expressing that peace that I wanted, that I seeked after so much. So years go by, and like I kept getting worse. I just felt like death. Anywhere I would go, I'd be too terrified to even leave the house. Like I thought about dying. Like I thought I was dying all the time. Like, where am I gonna pass out? Like there's nobody around, and I would freak out. I couldn't drive by myself somewhere. I'd be too nervous, and it just played a big problem in my mind. And it was like the darkest time of my life, and nobody could help me. I reached out to my parents. I reached out to, when I was dating my ex-girlfriend and my friends. Like I would keep telling them my symptoms, and they're just like, I don't know, like I don't know what to do. Like they didn't know how to say anything to calm me down, because it's like, what was there for them to do, to be honest? And like if they were to hold me or something, like I would freak out. Like I couldn't be touched because I couldn't breathe. Like I needed space and stuff, and it was terrible. It was a horrible experience, and I felt so bad knowing like my mom couldn't do anything. I could see it in her eyes that she was just tired. Like she wanted me to be healed, and she just wanted to know that I was okay. And for me to not be able to give that to her, I just felt bad. And like I was put on antidepressants, and like I just didn't want to take it. I was like, it just made me feel weird, and I didn't want to feel like that. I wanted to put my faith in God that he would heal me. And years kept going by, and I still experiencing the same thing over and over. But I started getting used to it. Like every time I went through a panic attack, I didn't have the pills with me, but I endured it. And I felt like, hey, look, every time you go through this, you come out alive. Like you're still alive. So that gave me more strength to just keep going and believe like I'm gonna be healed by it. And like mentally, I was healed. Like I was thinking of positive stuff. It wasn't until this last year is when the sickness in my stomach was starting to come strong, like make my stomach hurt super bad. I'd be shaking still, even when I was calm in my mind. So yeah, like there was just a moment where I was in the living room on the floor shaking and crying, and my mom was just like, didn't know what to do. And it went away over time. Like I calmed down, but it was still in my mind where I'm like, oh my gosh, like something is terminally ill with me. Something, like it has to be. So I don't know what happened, but God led me to a chiropractor. Out of everything out there, I went to a chiropractor, and I told him my situation, and he basically had me like stand up and do like a shoulder shrug thing. And then he just felt my stomach here, and he just instantly knew. He was like, you have a hiatal hernia, which basically is my stomach was in my chest. And that's what was causing every problem I've ever experienced for the last like 14 years, I think. I was little having heartburn problems. Like, I kid you not, like he named everything. He named bloatedness, which I always had problems with gas being trapped in my stomach. And I was hungry, but then I wouldn't be hungry. Like I'd eat and then I just instantly like felt sick. Heartburn, big problem. Like anytime I'd be sleeping, acid would go into my throat and just like, I don't know, it was a mess. And then the fast heart rate, he said like the acid that's in the stomach and whatever, there's like a nerve or whatever that it touches, which makes it beat really fast, like it irritates it. And so that's where my fast heart rate came from. My struggle breathing, that came from my stomach being pressing up against my lungs, which is not supposed to be doing that. And I always wondered, I'm like, everyone's breathing through their stomach, like their stomachs come out when they breathe, but I'm always breathing up in my chest. And so like anytime I needed that deep breath, I couldn't get it because it was like being pressed way down, or it was just there's not enough room for it to expand. That answered that question. And then constipation was a big issue because the stomach wasn't in the right place. It was just all tied up and everything was just stuck right there. And the reason why I never gained weight is because I thought I was full, but really the food was just stuck up here and I couldn't get any more to go down. And it's like, wow, all this stuff was going on with my body. That's why I was feeling sick all the time, and everybody was like, you're always sick, Anthony, you always have stomach aches. And finally having an answer for it was amazing. And what was even more amazing is the fact that he was able to move my stomach without surgery. He just pulled down my stomach and adjusted it. And I did a lot of visits after to keep it down, because most likely he said was it would go back up because there's a muscle that separates the stomach to the chest. Yeah, over time, it actually has been staying down. And the last visit I went, which was yesterday, he told me the stomach's been down for the last couple of weeks, and he's happy to see that. And so next visit's going to be in a month now. And I've felt amazing. I've been able to experience life without like thinking about sickness or feeling sick. Like I've literally felt like super good, like something I haven't got to experience in like so long. And seeing my mom like relieved of like I don't know, like I've just been so sick for so long, and like I got to go to the movies with my family and actually experience it. Like I didn't even really focus on the movie. I was like looking at my surroundings and just breathing in deeply and getting that breath in. Like I don't know, man. I'm just like so happy. It's like I can just go somewhere and not feel like I'm gonna die. And I think God waited until now to heal me because he wanted me to find peace in my mind first. And now that like the pain and suffering is gone from my lower body, it's like I'm mentally relaxed and physically relaxed, and I just feel like a new person. Like I honestly feel like I'm gonna be feeling way better in my 30s than I ever did in my 20s. And so yeah, like I had doubt that God was gonna heal me, and I started doubting that if he was there, but like I kept getting reminded, like, look what he did before, like he made you taller. He got rid of your spots. Like he's kept your family safe. We were constantly moving homes because we were struggling. Like we were struggling financially, and it was just, I don't know, nothing ever looked good, but we were always positive because we felt God was in our lives taking care of us. And so yeah, I was always reminded that like, hey, he's still there, he's listening, he's just waiting for you to get to that point for the blessing to be received. Like I think this was basically my reward for sticking with him, in a sense. Like I don't know, life has been so good now, and I've just been telling everybody about my experience, and everyone's really happy to see this. I started seeing some color come back to my face, and I actually gained 3 pounds since like the visit of the fixing and stuff, and everything's functioning properly. And I don't know, I'm just really excited to start writing again and expressing my love for God and expressing life situations and giving people that relaxing feeling to find peace in their own life. And even though you're suffering with something, just know, like, at some point, like, you will be at peace with it. And I don't know how it'll end or whatever. Like, that's on God's timing. And I pray for anybody who's going through some kind of illness that they just, find that my story can be relatable in a sense where they just find hope in it, at least. Like, find hope and continue pushing forward and continue to be strong. And me writing music was me being close to God. Like, every time I wrote music, I just felt at peace with God. And I think that's what helped me find hope and kept pushing me forward. Even when I was at my lowest, darkest part of life, there was just something I kept pushing towards. And you guys, all of you who keep messaging me, commenting on my stuff, saying how much I've impacted your lives, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Like, it's, you guys, every time I say thank you, it really helps me out a lot. Like, it mentally helped me. Like, you guys were a positive outlook of life. Like, I'm doing something good, and I was just excited to continue writing music for you guys. And at some point, I let myself forget about my own thoughts and the way I play music and my connection with God with it. I was trying to impress people, and that's how I started losing myself. I was like, this doesn't sound like me. And so now, with this whole experiencing and this blessing, like, I feel like I can play and write music for God again, and stuff is sounding amazing. I have a few songs that that are close to completed. And yeah, when I upload those, I'm excited to see what you guys think. But yeah, I mean, my story's everywhere. I tried to follow a little timeline thing, but yeah, like, that's me, and I hope you guys find something cool. Or, like, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to my life and stuff. But yeah, if there's some stuff I miss, I'd like to do more and actually write down the questions. So thanks, guys. I love you all. I'm glad you guys are patient with me, and be on the lookout for some new music. And God bless you all. And I pray for you guys to have a peaceful night or a peaceful morning or a day. And just thank you. Thank you, guys. I love you all.